one of the things that you mentioned that I always like to come back to, because so far several of the clinicians that I've talked to have raised this issue, and I always want to make a point of it, right? When we talk about the importance of the Black community finding and working with clinicians who look like them,
yes,
it's not just because they look like them.
no, that's it. You're right. You got it. I was getting to that too at some point. I'm glad you brought it up, because just because you look like me don't mean you like me.
Correct. Can you talk about what we really mean when we say that?
Yes.
When you're looking for a clinician who reflects you.
Yes. So it's funny because when I meet initially with my Black clients, I say I'm really Black. Like, I have a doctorate, right? Like, because some people see that PhD and they're a little intimidated by it, right?
You don't know it, yeah.
Not right. Like, you ain't had no Black experience. You don't know what I've been. I was a single family home. My dad was in and out of prison on drugs. I, have plenty of family members out there, doing that. I've lived it. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
I just had access to more resources than some of the other. I'm no different. I'm no better than anybody else. I have plenty of. My best friend was a teen mom. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
correct.
I've had some struggles. Let's be clear. I just, my choices were a little different. I also had access. Let's be clear. So I went to private school because my mother worked 3 jobs to send me to private school, but yet she wasn't around, right? Like, so, there's anyway.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's what I had to, introduce myself to my clients. I'm like, I'm Black and I earned these degrees, but I'm still me. Like, I have not lost. And even when I teach, so I teach a lot of my students, especially my Black students, they always want to know, they're like, how are you so real? Like, I've not met many like Black professors that are still themselves. And I'm like, I don't know who else to be. Like, this is it. I don't. So I think it's reassuring for those Black clients who want someone who's down to earth, right? So I can have a client in session say something like, yeah, I was in the cut and 12 came, right? Like, if you don't know,
you touch yourself and it was 12 a.m.
Yes. I'm a little concerned.
Yes. What were you doing out so late with a knife?
Yes. So when you are able to have those conversations, or I have females come in, they're like, Dr. can I take my wig off? And I'm like, girl, I don't care. Like,
it's really real. Yeah.
Yeah. I have one, light up. Like, she starts smoking marijuana. And I'm like, it's online, so I can't.
We're not getting that real.
You got a card? Is it legal? I don't want you getting in trouble. Like, those are my questions. So, but to have a therapist that gets you, it's important. Because don't get me wrong, there are some white folks who get
correct,
right? They're rare. But that comes with experience. It comes with being able to interact with people, being able to understand, being open, So yes, just because, and I'm not gonna say I was, like we were poor, but not like all the way in poverty, right? So I don't know those experiences. Yeah. All I know are mine, but that doesn't mean I can't help.
Correct. But that's so important to the experience, right? Like, people are looking for someone who, at least they don't have to break down and explain. You don't want your therapy session to be an educational experience for the therapist.
Yep.
You
the
spend
whole
all day going over what everything means. You haven't really gotten any help.
No. And that is the number one concern that I hear from clients who have come from someone who was not Black or not, could identify with them culturally, is that I had this therapist and they, half time I got to explain why my hair changes every other week, So I get it.
Look, I want to go back to something again that you had mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Which is unplanned. You mentioned that a lot of agencies don't value their Black clinicians.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I'm hearing somebody express that.
Yeah.
Not that it's a new idea. But that wasn't something I intended to talk to you about, but I would love to hear your experience of that.
Absolutely. So like I said, I've probably worked for almost every agency in the Cleveland area. And first of all, we're rare. Like, Black therapists are rare. There are more now, but when I first started, like most Black folks were social workers. So like they weren't counselors trained necessarily, they weren't clinically trained. So they were doing the work the counselors were doing, but weren't trained to do it. And you can tell the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would get in some of these agencies and they want to pay low, it's low ball. I want to say like my first therapist job was like $35,000.
Wow.
Like ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're not paying well. They're not, and especially, and not that I want you to pay me because I'm Black, but pay me because I'm about to make these differences with these clients that need it, right?
Your retention's about to change.
Yeah.
The treatment outcomes are about to change.
The
Supervision's about to change.
Yeah. Referral base is about to change. Like
everything.
Come on now. Value that.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't always happen. It was rare that I felt like, and don't, not just compensation, just workspace. Like I shouldn't have to share a space with somebody else. Like I should, we got to schedule around each other, that kind of stuff. Or, the cell phone they provided, like anyway, just small stuff. Like, come on now. Like we got to do better. And if you want to retain therapists, A, you have to compensate them, and B, value that you don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at other places who seem to be giving me a better, I don't know, they value me more, then I'm gonna go. Why would I stay here? You don't seem to.
But that's also when you talk about service provision, you're losing the talented people, number one.
Yep.
And so the people who do still come in are being underserved.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so their experience is not good.
Nope.
And it also becomes a mill.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happens.
It just becomes a mill. I just need people coming in and out and in and out and in and out so I can build. And
and that's all it's about.
I wouldn't even say it's secondary, it might even be tertiary. The therapeutic process and the benefit that people are receiving.
Absolutely.
Right. And it doesn't mean, No, it doesn't mean people are going to stop coming. I know a couple of mills. Yeah. Right.
I do too.
People are always going to still come in because they won't stop needing help and they won't stop searching for it.
Yeah.
The problem is that after they hit one or two clinics like that, they're done.
Yeah.
And they don't believe in the process. And by the time they find out about you, they're just
giving up. Yeah. They're like, I don't do therapy anymore.
Yep. I'm not doing that. I don't want to trust my wounds, my injuries, my hurt
to someone else that may be able to help or may not.
And so this is the butterfly effect of not valuing your clinicians.
Absolutely.
Right? That we don't really consider.